Right you. Hi guys, Spartan D here playing Neverwinter on the PC. Now, sorry for not making any content thus far. I've been very busy going in and out of hospital for personal reasons. But other than that, I promised from my previous video that I was going to uh, break down Master Soul Harvest, which is where we are in at the moment. If you look here at the top, you are currently playing Soul Harvest Master. I'm alone, as you can see. Bochi. So this video is actually how you can tank Master Soul Harvest. Now, full disclosure, I have yet to actually been in a single Master Soul Harvest because unfortunately a trial needs 10 people in total, and I just don't have 9 other people to go to a Master Soul Harvest. So this is, take that with a pinch of salt. However, I did play around, like I said previously in my video, that I will create a build for you in order to be able to survive Master Soul Harvest without having any of these like celestial equipment from Master Shackles of Divinity. Basically all these things you can acquire by playing the game. Most of these gears are, I would consider budget gears, except for this topaz. I'm not even sure where I got this from, so I do apologize. But yeah, I would say budget because again, you can acquire this basically by playing the game, um, running advanced Soul Harvest, which is not as demanding as Masters, because the success requirement is that you need 6 people alive on the platform at the very end, as opposed to Master, which requires 9 people, so you can only have one death in order to succeed. So that's kind of like the caveat, and then all these other things I'll go through with them. Sorry, I'll go with them with you later on. But these are the kind of like stats I'm working with right now. This is basically overachieving because, as you can see, I'm by myself, and I don't really have kind of like a self healing build for this, because, well, self healing build I tried in my previous video and it didn't work very well. I will up my stats slightly more because I would like to have more deflect, and then buff it with a deflect elixir, forge hammers. All right, so I have more deflect. So I can't really prove this, but I heard that if you are to have more deflect, you can deflect the poisons from the green boss. Again, I cannot confirm or deny whether this is true or not. Powers, basically, we'll go through all that, but let me just see if I can get into a green boss. Otherwise, we'll just do like the red boss and yeah, green. So pull her aggro. I think it's because I'm recording. I'm not shifting properly. I'm probably gonna die. I can't dig in, and now it's doing the thingamajig. Well, at least I survived that one. It's the lag, unfortunately. I'm actually gonna pop an iron ward here. Dig in if I can. I'm probably gonna die. No? Good. So maybe put on a bladed rampart. So, oh, dig in. So as you can see, I survived slightly longer, even if I'm not doing it 100%. This lag is actually killing me as well. So that's a disadvantage. But as you can see, I'm actually surviving better, a lot better than I did the last time I did this. So unfortunately, I did die there. But as you saw, I did survive like 2 of her poison bombs. I'm actually not sure if it's a male or female. So excuse me for assuming your gender. The music's kind of loud. So I do apologize. Maybe I should have gotten 20 instead of 35. Anyway, as you can see, I did survive there. If the lag didn't kill me, I probably would have survived until the next kind of like orb phase where he or she, it, let's call it an it because it is a demon after all, summons the orbs around. I did actually last time I ran this survive until to that point. Um, so we can go again, but I have a thinking feeling that I'm not gonna get green again. I'll probably get the other two. So let's go through say stats and reasonings, right, for the things that I did. So again, budget build, I would say, because you don't get those celestials, whatever. You can get these weapon sets up to mythic pretty easily. Um, well, easy is subjective. It was quite easy for me because I can run ashes. Like I ran hundreds of ashes, advanced soul harvest, such that all of my 9 classes that I play are equipped with advanced soul harvest gears for both loadouts. So there's like 9 times 2, basically 18. Well, maybe not the wizard or was it warlock that has basically both DPS builds, Master of Flame or something like that. So it basically used one set, which is the what you call that, iron, not iron, crimson scythe of the crimson, I think something like that, which is a DPS build. So yeah, mostly Ash. I was running like martyrs on this one or hierarchy. Why is my mouse acting up? There we go. Yeah, I was running not merciless. This one, the hierarch, for the heals as well as boots of the martyr. Not the marching. Boots of the martyr. I can't seem to use my scroll effectively, but trust me, I was using healing boots or healer boots. Um, I would say use whatever kind of like armor, sorry, artifact sets that you have. I just chose ritualistic because I don't have, what was that one called? Just the caldera from Mountain of Flame, and then there is the Tiamat one, which the set escapes me. Is basically the upgraded version of the old one. The Topaz is basically for my 120 deflect severity, which I don't know. I just feel more comfortable running it. Besides, it's either that or I suppose I could be using the Dark Lake ring for aggro. But honestly speaking, I don't think I'd lose aggro. That's why I'd use the power. This one, Anvil of Challenge, just for that. But we'll cover that soon-ish. Ring of Corruption again is an Ash ring. Gives me awareness and defense, I believe, top of my head. Basically, shirts and pants that is for your stats. Now, if you're struggling with stats, let me just show you. If I was to pop my, you know what, before and after, I suppose. I'll try to go to my movement speed and stamina regeneration. Stamina regeneration at the moment is at 94.3. I could use, I think it was my powers. Yes, my powers for 20 more, or is it 10% more stamina regen? I think it was like 10%. But I chose, if I was to choose that, right? My stamina, my stamina regen would be 96. So it's only like, I believe it's like 2%. Not worth it, I think. I would rather have movement speed from the greater endurance. Again, I feel like I'm skipping here because I'm talking about the stats. I rather have the movement speed. And if you need extra movement speed, to be honest, you could either use the lantern during kind of like the what you call that, maze phase, right? It'll give you 30% more. Like it gives you a burst of speed for a short while. It looks like 10 seconds, but it is plus 30% movement speed. And with my current movement speed right now, that'd be 100 plus. And if you're in a group, it'll be like 100 whatever plus, even more. Especially if they use a Diana or a category. as an aura, movement aura. If you pop a fizzy brew, that's another 10%. I don't know if it popped actually. Yes, it did. Yes, I got 80. So if I was to pop a lantern again, I'll get an extra 30%. And I can't seem to use this. There we go. Now, I would maintain using an owlbear rather than this lantern at all times because you do need to kind of like hit harder, I suppose. And this lantern, right, if I was to use this lantern, like so, and if I can get to my movement speed fast enough, where is it? Yeah, 114. That's only going to be up till, yeah, there we go. It kind of like fell off there. I gained 30 movement speed, 30% movement speed. But again, I would still use like maybe an owlbear or dragonfire or any of those kind of like trinkets that would allow you to use uh, range. I think even a Neverwinter Hawk because well, it depends. If you were on a single target boss, such as Ice, then perhaps Owlbear might be better, or Neverwinter Hawk. But Dragonfire would be better for the green because of the orbs, right? The poison orbs. As a fighter, you don't really have a lot of um, tank, especially. You don't have a lot of range. Uh, I believe the shield toss is the only one. Anyway, what else am I supposed to cover? I suppose incoming damage reduction. That would that at the moment is not that great, -27. But the thing is, fighter tank is it's really weird with incoming damage. Um, I would feel like some other people would disagree, but according to research done by somebody who's really good with tanking, I'll probably put his link in the subscription. Not subscription, sorry, in the description below. There's a build that he did in for mod 31.5, and I'll put the link down below. So shout out to him. Unfortunately, I don't remember his name at the top of my head right now. Um, so he explained that at most you'll only have -40% incoming damage. Anything more than that, and it'll like fall off or does really weird things like it adds more. So it's really weird like that. Like if I was to pop my dailies, right? If I was to go down here, as you can see, most of my I'm not buffed right now, so most of my defensive stats are quite getting there. And where's my negative incoming damage? I don't think that's affected by it. Maybe it is. -27. You would assume that going into dig in, right, would lessen 29.5.2. You would assume that going into dig in would actually reduce your incoming damage, right? But I find that it does not for some weird reason. There you go, 21.9. I'm currently in a dig-in state, and as you can see, it's a -19.9. If I let go of my dig-in, see, it goes up. So it's really like, what's going on? It doesn't make sense, right? But take that with a pinch of salt, right? Basically, it might actually be a good idea to just shift rather than going to dig-in for some reason. Let's go into a shift, and as you can see, my incoming damage is also less. Huh. It almost seems to me that just standing still and just taking whatever damage it is might be better. But I don't know. I think it's some weird thing. Something about shifting gives you an extra 40% of your maximum health, and digging in is plus 60% damage, kind of like buff. It's not a shield. It's like a I don't know what it is. It's basically a tank thing. So yeah, take that with a pinch of salt. However, you can have your powers. Let me go to powers now. I think so. For at wills, I use brazen slash, right? So you didn't see there earlier, but if I was low in stamina, I would just swing my sword like this, and my stamina regen would actually increase. However, we'll get into it, but basically, Gladiator's Guile from the mount kind of like bonuses does play a part with my stamina regen. And yeah, as you saw earlier, I was able to gain my stamina regen and tank most of those attacks without having to kind of like swing my sword. But if I had to, I would just swing my sword like this, even if I wasn't at the boss or even if I wasn't hitting anything, because that actually regenerates stamina just by swinging the sword like this, which is really weird. But hey, I'm not gonna question it. For my second at will, I use this one, threatening rush, only because as a gap closer, and of course to increase that. And of course, I don't have a dummy here, but maybe I can use my pinata. How about that? I'll use this as a dummy pinata. I think it's that thing, isn't it? This one is pretty strong. This beholder. So if this was the boss, right? I would threatening rush. I would threatening rush. It's lagging. I would threatening rush into a dig in, like this. This is actually very fast when it comes to at wills. It's probably the fastest at will of all the repertoire of a fighter, unofficially. If you use the dig in, right? I don't want him to destroy the pinata. We might need it. Let it be there. Right. As a gap closer, because sometimes when you're pushing into the boss, the collect collision, it doesn't compute. I want to say it really, the threatening rush would set you at the exact distance that you'd need to be um, from your target, right? Because some of the bosses, I do believe red is a good example of that. Red and blue, the further you are from the target, the bosses, the more damaging their kind of like what you call that, tank busters, the one shot mechanics, uh, the more that they will hurt. In fact, um, I'll kind of like go against what I said earlier by saying that threatening rush would put you at a better, the best distance. You could actually go in, hug the boss even more if you just went forward slightly. And I find that hugging the boss would actually do zero damage as opposed to just doing kind of like a threatening rush, right? There's that slight distance. I find that at red, especially with the kind of like overhead slam or IBS, whatever, unavoidable attack, I think it's called officially in the logs, they do damage even with a slight distance away from the boss. So it's a really, really weird thing. And it's kind of funny because if you're doing advanced soul harvest, you actually want to pull that unavoidable attack away from the boss so that your teammates don't get hit by it, especially your melee champions, as it were, or characters or players or tunes. Anyway, take that with a pinch of salt. Again, this is kind of like what my findings are. I do believe that. I mean, I play DPS as well, so it's kind of like I don't like it when the tank doesn't pull away that unavoidable attack and then end up hitting me. But then again, as a DPS, I think you should keep your eyes open for when things like that are about to happen, and have your finger, little pinky, on the shift button just in case. Sometimes the red turns around, he loses, the tank loses aggro, he turns around and starts hitting behind him, or does the cone damage or whip attack or what have you. Sometimes you just gotta be aware of your surroundings and not just, AFK DPS, especially in the Master Soul Harvest, right? This also applies in advance, to be honest. So if you're in a master, just be, wake up and be aware of your surroundings. If an AOE or big hit is gonna come, you just press the shift button. That's what it's for. You know. But anyway, take that with a pinch of salt. I actually do play DPS, and I don't like it when the tanks don't pull, but I kind of understand, right? Sorry, I'm gonna take a sip of water. Mm. Next, powers. Oh God, there's a lot of people getting the new mount, or not new mount, the previous new mount. There's a new lockbox came out. I don't even have the grub shank. Anyway, shield throw, which coincides with the shield thrower boon or whatever feat. So you can throw more. You can throw more. I use Anvil of Doom. It is the single most hard hitting encounter power of a fighter tank. Um, People will use Enforced Threat. Hey man, you do you. I used Anvil of Doom and coupled that with which one is it? Oh, this one, the feat, right? Or class feat. Anvil of Challenge, so that I'll be at the top of the list. I don't lose aggro this way, or at least if the calls were done properly, meaning at the same time. Either I use the Anvil of Doom uh, with the Anvil of Challenge feat on, in order to be the top of the list, even after all of these big hits come out. Again, using Threatening Rush to kind of like maintain that threat aggro. Next, I actually use this nice Valor more inside because you're not a DPS, you're not really meant to do a DPS. But for green specifically, I would use Iron Warrior just to get that negative 20%, right? So if I was to use, it, as you saw earlier, oh look, I have 130k. I'll talk about that in a bit as well. My incoming damage is 27.4, but if I pop an Iron Warrior, thus my incoming damage now is 41.9, so 42. And again, if you go into a shift, oh, sorry, I must have alt tabbed there. You would lose, incoming damage for some reason if you go into dig in, but if you pair that with the Iron Warrior, I think it mitigates that somewhat. Let me just check again. I don't really remember. Where is it? Negative 35.9. See? I mean, it's more. It's more if you don't go into dig in, but you know that's kind of like the caveat. If you pop a, oh, if you do the trifecta, which is pop a bladed ramp, go into an Iron Warrior, and then go into dig in. I hopefully I am in the dig in right now. That's the trifecta. Incoming damage is still not that great, 37.5. Excuse me. My nose is congested, and it doesn't help that I'm talking nonstop. So, yes, we're still talking about power. That's about it, really. I mean, it's up to you what you want to play, but the main thing I think is shield thrower because that's the only range attack that you have. You could probably use line breaker, kind of like physically just hit it at the distance, and then the kind of like code kind of like is arranged, but it's not very what you call that, reliable. I want to say shield thrower is a lot more or much more reliable because it basically hits multiple targets, even if they're like there. You know, it's not in the cone. I guess you can use both. The third slot for encounter actually is up for interpretation. Um, Maybe you want to use this one, Shield Slam, which also is technically arranged, but I stick with Shield Thrower, and then again with the Anvil of Doom, or whatever it is that you use to aggro. You might even use a nice Valor instead because whoever has the highest aggro, you could tether to him, her, and then the aggro goes to you. Again, that's very specific, I want to say, and situational. Um, you can't choose who you can tether with. It basically game just basically just tethers you to the closest party member or what you call that ally. So yeah, that you know it's like a toss up really. If they're all by them, they're lonesome, and yes, you can tether quite reliably. But if you're in a group of people of 10, um, you can't choose. So there you go. That's a bit difficult. I would think enforced threat might be better, since I mean, yeah, there are mobs sometimes. If you're doing the alt, instead of like the main tank on the boss, and you're on mobs, I suppose this could work. But you could also pull the boss if you happen to be close by as well. I don't use Knight's challenge for the stamina regen because I've got a lot of stamina regen, as you saw earlier. There's actually things that you could do to gain more stamina regen, but I think using the at will, the brazen slash is good enough. Um, Plus Gladiator's Guile, it would actually increase your stamina regen even more if you have 25% or less stamina. Again, I will use Iron Warrior for specifically for green boss, but I could be on Nice Valor depending on how good my teammates are. I might not even need Iron Warrior because I get shielded or negating damage, whatever. That's why I use a lion, a golden swift lion. Sorry, a stalwart called lion instead of say a what you call that, BDS, Black Death Scorpion. But we shall see. I mean, I haven't again, full disclosure, I haven't run a master soul harvest yet. I couldn't find the people to run it with, unfortunately, because my time zone, and most players' time zones are not the same. Uh, okay, so this is basically how I feel like a tank should be. Like, most you get your points in defensive, and I do understand that it might be better if you just maxed out this potions thing, to get more health, to get like lingering health. It continues to heal, and it affects stones of health now too, which I didn't realize until I watched this other video made by somebody talking about builds for Master Soul Harvest. So unfortunately, I haven't kind of like spent stats in that. So yeah, I basically don't kind of like leverage towards this. If you can put your points into these, then by all means, I don't need them, or I did not spec into them. I might change my mind, but for now, it's okay for my build right now. So, companion use really depends on your party, what they want. If they are magnanimous, I suppose there's a better. I want to say there's a word. If they're lenient, if they're accepting, susceptible, flexible, I guess you could use anything. I've used Roth as well. I think that's how you pronounce its name, a Roth. Um, he has a shield, right? You can shield for, I believe it's 10%, or is it 20%? 10% of your max health, and then also reducing your damage. I believe it's like 3% for bosses. It does say elites, but I think that's kind of like non-boss um, targets. So solo and mini boss enemy damage is reduced by 3%. Not that great, right? But it does work. I prefer the stalwart golden lion, if I can spell his name correctly, not Gears Fear. Mine anyway. Um, is a negative 10%, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Like 100% uptime, if I can find it. Yeah, 10% of the damage, right? It goes to the companion. So as long as he's alive, he's basically soaking up 10% of the damage. I use Providence here for power. Did I already cover companion? Oh no, I didn't. Right. So with power, I use armor break. Now this is basically just so that you can do more damage to the boss. Raptor, always have raptors on, +4 or +5. Sorry, raptors. Fixed instinct is for survivability. Whenever you get a debuff, you get heals. Basically, it's like 100% you get it. So it's not like a chance, like say Elena's repost. Undying Overlord, obviously for the negative incoming damage. Spiteful Hex has made a what you call that, a patch notes recently, like yesterday. So instead of reducing the defense of your target, it now increases the incoming damage and also to them, not you, by the way. It says here debuff, but it's debuff to your target or the target that hits you. So there's an increase in incoming damage, and then there's an increase to your defense. So it was this or Elena's repost, but I don't know if the bosses here deal combat advantage. You know, with the orbs behind you, for example, and the boss in front of you, then of course you are in a combat advantage. Or when during the last phase with all the mobs, I suppose. However, that's not very consistent. So this does give me heals even if I get hit. But I feel like the Spiteful Hex would be better from Lysera, because you're gonna get hit by critical strikes all the freaking time. So yeah, excuse me. It's gonna give you more defense basically. And then Shadow Demons. This is more for the deflect. That's how I get 120% deflect severity. However, um, yes, Arenice. Arenice defense is versus demonic against demons by 14%. Now, in my testing, um, because all of the bosses here in Soul Harvest are demons, technically this should work. I should get negative 14 incoming damage from all demon sources. However, I don't see any difference. I really do not see a difference whether I use a deflect severity over a demon kind of like ward. Um, I had used uh, like demon wards and whatever ward that's demon related, right? I have a devil's, or is it, there's a specific demon ward that's other, yeah, greater demon ward, a greater demon ward with a demon ward from stronghold. I don't survive any better. So stick with the standard bulwark of brimstone for HP, and of course what is it, unholy protection for deflect, right? And critical avoidance. I'm really into the deflect right now because that's the only defensive stats that can protect you from poisons, apparently. So take that again with a pinch of salt. I have no kind of like proof, but I'm a bottom line kind of guy, and I've been playing with the stats and stuff, and I feel like I've survived much better now that I have more deflect than I did with say more defense. But they do help. You know, more awareness, more defense, basic all the defensive stats, critical sorry, including critical avoidance, because you're gonna get hit by critical strikes all the time. And also things like incoming reduction, stamina regen was a really helpful one, I think. So with that, all of these artifacts that I've got on, you can pause the video. Oh, maybe not this one. Where is? Wait a minute. Is this some? Is this stamina regen? It is Marilith. Marilith? Mythalar. Sorry, I am blind. Right. So oh, you know what? Let's do that. Let's change the scene. You guys are basically seeing what it looks like on your stream, on the stream. But if I was to swap the kind of like recording, right? This is how I see it. This is how I play. People have asked me, if you're so blind, how is it that you can see? This is how I see. This is Spark Division, by the way. This is the only way I can read anything or see anything. And as you can see on the screen, I can't read what it says because I'm zoomed in too much. So what I do is I get my phone and I put on the camera function, and then I just basically zoom in using my phone to read the text that is on the screen. That is the only way I can see anything in the game, especially like things like the logs or the chats and what have yous. So yeah, that's basically how this is my life. Hopefully that does capture the game. Yes, it did. Okay, good. Um, what else? Rhyme temper. This took me 5 million. You could go fortified nature. You could go battle tempered, I suppose. Flash freeze is another one for kind of like incoming damage reduction. But I find rhyme temper to be quite good, if not the best when it comes to tanking. Hopefully that covers that. Excuse me. What else is there? Boo. We already did that. I don't think we need any of the other boons. That doesn't make sense. Companions, I've talked about. Oh, if you're struggling with if you're struggling with your stats, you could go for something like this augment butterfly. But I don't because, as you can see, my defensive stats is way over. It's overkill basically, which means that it's wasted stats. So I prefer utility over stats, I suppose. So as to pop that, pop this, right? What are my stats like? Crazy. I feel like critical avoidance should be 90%. I don't know why it's like capped at 77%. It does say 60% max here, but I'm pretty sure 90% is the max cap. So it's really weird. I'm really weirded out by this. Like, why is the critical avoidance stats um, like orange or green, whatever it may be? But I'll stick to my Star Wars Golden Line for the negative. You could go for Brunor, but Brunor only has, I believe, it's like 5%, so it's not as much. Um, you could go super defensive group. Somebody has to rock a Roth, a stalwart lion if you haven't already. A lich, I believe, does affect. Does it? I don't actually know. Let me check. If I was to summon a lich, oh, not a lich, a lich. Does he have an ability? I mean, this is the ability he has that gives you kind of like negative incoming damage. But does he have any other like actives? It doesn't seem like it. So the only companions that does have reduction are sorry, not fear. Stalwart Gold Lion, Brunor. But again, he only reduces 3% to everybody. So, you might be able to stack like all these companions. Drummer, but he's not 100% uptime. It only when he does this uh, percussion. So that's a further 3%. I can't think of anything else that does it. Runic Aura, I suppose, gives you more defense. But I would assume that every run, especially a Master Soul Harvest, would run a Runic Aura. That covers companions. Oh, except for this, I suppose. I got these uh, pretty cheap. I was trying to get these from running Endless Experiment. However, from when this mod came out till today, I still have yet for that particular Thion Girdle, Theon, Theon Girdle, I believe. Girdle. Of the companion are super cheap. 100, 150 is the cheapest at the moment today. I bought three of these straight from the auction house. They used to be millions of AD, but they are so cheap right now, so I just straight up bought them, which obviously helped me with my defensive stats. Anyway, I think that covers that. Um, with Mount Powers, I went for Necrotic because it gives me it doesn't hit for much, but the incoming damage is really good, right? 60%, that's the highest. You could go for Phantasmal Wake. Phantasmal Wake's from the Panther, whatever Panther is, the see through Panther, whatever that's called. I'm using Providence right now, but most likely um, it's either Runic, right? Excuse me. It could be Runic for power and defense. It could be Mystic, Mystic Aura. What else is there? There's four, I believe. Providence is an aura technically because anybody gets hit, they can get healed. Not just you. What else there? Mystic. Oh yeah, Pack Tactics. That's the other one. Most likely, this would be the one that other than supports would use. Basically, all the DPS are expected to use Pack Tactics, especially for Master, I believe. Just so that because it stacks, right? You have your Mystic Aura, you have your Runic Aura, you have your um, what's the other one? I guess Pack Tactics, right? The fourth one is the Avian one, which unfortunately I don't have because I was on a hiatus from this game. And that was kind of like a special event, kind of like the Red Dragon, and there has not been another Avian, um, the kind of like dragon chicken mount as of yet, like ever since. So I'm waiting for kind of like the event to happen again, and hopefully you can get it then because a ridiculous amounts of AD just to buy it right now because of how the supply and demand is so rare that people still have that dragon chicken that people are selling for millions of AD, and I'm not about to spend that kind of money for just an aura that I may or may not use. And as you know, I tend to not buy things unless I really, really needed to. So, covering the next thing, Mount Powers, Gladiator's Guile is not a four enchantment power, unfortunately, but it is so good. Like I have seen a considerable increase in survivability because of Gladiator's Guile. I now run two Guardian Spirit as well for the HP anymore, and it's diminishing returns. Um, Lionheart Preservation plus Knight's Condemnation are my two go tos for this run. Actually, yeah, this is basically it. Two Guardian Spirit, Gladiator's Guile. You could probably swap that with Allies Resilience, I think it's called. Allies something. Not Allies, whatever that when somebody gets hit, they get more, or you get hit, and it gives them defense aura to everybody. It makes sense that as a tank you run it, but I prefer Gladiator's Guile. Is one of the I can't remember allies something. So yeah, this is basically my go-to build for going into Master of Soul Harvest. All the fortitudes. I suppose I could go for initiative for the deflect, but I feel like going defense is in the green. If this was like orange, then I might have swapped my insignias for the deflect insignias instead. But as it stands, having defense, I suppose if I was in the team, I would probably go for um, deflect instead. But let's just buff up. I don't know if my elixir is still running because I've been talking so long. Yeah, 18 minutes. So I've been talking for 40 minutes or so. Let's get in. Hopefully we get green again. Or I suppose I could talk about ice and fire. Oh, we got green again. Did I forget something? Oh no, the lag. I didn't even right click. Why am I? Now I'm shifting. I should have moved way, way ahead before that. Got into the dig in finally. I kind of got healed there. I'm assuming that's my pig instinct, but you know what? I will pop a stone of health. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm shifting. This is not a good indication of my skills as a tank because I'm lagging so hard. But even at a disadvantage like this, I'm still surviving. So that's actually a good indicator of good things to come when it comes to running this dungeon, this master version, with a group. See, my I'm not touching the mouse and it's going crazy. So unfortunate. I really don't know what's going on. I'm assuming it's lag. Yeah, it's OBS is not playing nice with the game right now. Let's see if we can get with a red or blue, just to wrap up this build. And kind of like the caveats that you need to look out for. Again, oh, why is it dark? I know I'm blind, but this is ridiculous. Hello? Can I see the game, please? Huh. I feel like I'm next to the boss. What's going on? Developers, fix your game. Yeah, it doesn't like it when I'm still I'm still seeing black. It's like black all screen. My whole screen is black. What is up with this? Yeah, it's OBS not playing nice with Neverwinter. In fact, my mouse is going haywire right now. You okay, dude? Are you okay now? Oh yeah, with powers as well. I totally skipped this. Oh God, what? I need a young priest and an old priest. Um, so utility. I mean, whatever you need. Defense. PvP obviously doesn't. You oh, you know what? Critical avoidance. I think I've got enough defense. I think if I was going for apocalypse set, I would select critical strike. But you know, thinking this, I will not be using apocalypse set here. So utility. Generally speaking, I will just slot movement speed. However, if I did die in the first before the last phase, because at the last phase, it's not worth it. You won't have enough time before the boss dies. During kind of like the bridge phase where you're trying to escape to the platform, it's not gonna be enough time for you to get rid of your stacks, right? You probably have 2 or 3 stacks by that point. Again, I have not done a Master Soul Harvest, so I can't really tell you. But based on my experience with Advanced Soul Harvest, you might have stacks. But at the last phase, like the first 2 phases, fine. You can rock this and then swap it back to movement speed when you are inside the maze. But as it stands, when you go into, I can't. Why can't I zoom out? I actually might close this. I don't even know why it's there in the first place. Yeah, so once you get into the maze, you'll swap back to this, and then once you go deposit, swap back to a revive sickness. If you have skulls, if you don't have skulls, there's no point of you putting on a revive sickness. It's just gonna make you go slower. And I think that's it, really, guys. I really wished that I've at least ran a Master Soul Harvest once to prove that this build works. But I feel like even with the lag, even with me running this Master Soul Harvest by myself, excuse me, I have proven that I can survive the green boss, which is the worst of the three, right? If you can survive green, you can survive blue and red. Um, although I don't even buff here. because I kind of want to show you the caveats. It's really weird when I'm not looking for green. I'm not getting green. I can't. I can't even dig in. It's lagged. That is not skill issue. That's just a lag issue. You know what? If you play smart, you won't die. These are the kind of like minimum. I wouldn't say it's minimum. This is like way over in stats, but it is using oh god, it is. I'm trying to show you my gears, but it's going crazy. Um, Never mind. Can I? Okay. It there are I am using ash gears for this, so you don't really need, which is kind of like counterproductive, getting celestial equipment from Master Shackles of Divinity, which is, in my opinion, the hardest trial. It's much harder than Master Soul Harvest, I believe. Um, I mean, each have their own pros and cons, I suppose. The pros for Shackles of Divinity being that you get celestial gears, but the pros for Master Soul Harvest is that you get celestial weapon sets eventually, I suppose. But yeah, they're hard. They're difficult in their own ways. Um, I feel like Master Soul Harvest is much easier than compared to Master Shackles of Divinity, um, because I tried hosting both. And I think I get more success doing Master Soul Harvest. Anyway, yeah, budget. You don't really. I think as a closer though, I will do one more thing. Oh, not VIP. I'm trying to leave here. Abandoned instance. Yes. I didn't have all mythic. Is it mythic? Yeah, mythic insignias on my main because of playing around with the. I could probably be better when it comes to which mounts that I use for my four insignias. Can I even? It's lagging really hard. I'm trying to get to P. I'm trying to go to the Reaper's Challenge NPC because that's where I got my insignias from. I rewatched my old videos and I forgot totally that you could actually get insignia powders from trade bar, which I'm not gonna do right now. Not that because one, I don't need it anymore because I've claimed all of the insignias from my Reaper's Challenge already prior to this video. Excuse me. I'm having to walk there because I can't mount for some reason. There we go. It's over here. Lag. Lag fest. I think I started with more than 30 coins for sure. I'm now down to one. But basically, I got my insignia from here. Got a legendary insignia, converted into powder, insignia powder. Got 250. If I'm lucky, I could get more. Until which time I got all my insignias. It's going crazy, so I do apologize. Can I show it now? No, I can't. Anyway, that's where I got my insignias. So, so anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I do apologize that I'm unable to show you kind of like the blue and the red boss, but that's not what this video is about. It's really about what you when it comes to builds, and without having celestial gears, how can you, as a fighter tank? And I believe this is the way. And then obviously once you get like Master Soul Harvest, you get the equipment from there. You get the claw, whatever, which is supposedly the best ring that you can get. Meta for tanks right now. 25% return damage to compared to your max HP. 25% of your max HP return back to the attacker, right? So to maintain aggro, that is great. That is an awesome ring. But I'm not about to buy that. I'd rather to get it for free by running the Master Soul Harvest, right? But anyway, yeah, obviously swap for those rings and gears once you have it. But as an entry level, these are the gears that I'll be running in order to get to master habit. Why am I zooming out to my crotch there? Yeah. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This is such a lag fest. I have to end this video right now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, Spartan D out. Bye bye now. And I'll try to outro. There we go. Hopefully.